Good morning, welcome back everybody. Today's November 22nd, Friday. This will be our last class before Thanksgiving break. This will also be the wrapping up of the content in this course other than the videos down here. So let's take a look at that. So today we'll finish up chapter 11. I will get chapters 10 and 11 homework assigned. That will be due after Thanksgiving break, so everyone remember next week is Thanksgiving break. After that, we have chapters 10 and 11 homework due, as I just said. And if you notice, we have the Jeff Bezos video and the Mark Zuckerberg video. As I said in class on Wednesday, these are going to be used at your own discretion. I will give extra credit if you do a one-page reflection paper on after watching these videos. So once again, that is 2 extra credit opportunities. If you want to write a one-page reflection paper on those, and I'll get that put into Moodle here, so that it has the breakdown of everything. It'll just be double spaced, not single spaced, just double spaced 12-point font in a Word document of what you thought was interesting or found out new about each of these videos. And that is a 1 page per video, so it'd be 1 each. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and get on back into chapter 11. This will be a quick class. We only have a few pages left to cover, so it shouldn't be too long. We're going to start on the bottom of page 433, where we left off on Wednesday's class with e-procurement. An e-procurement net marketplace is going to be an independently owned intermediary that is going to connect hundreds of online suppliers. These suppliers offer millions of maintenance and repair parts to business firms who are going to pay fees to join this market. E-procurement net marketplaces are going to be typically used for long-term contractual purchasing of indirect goods. Once again, remember, these indirect goods are going to be MRO goods. They're going to create an online horizontal market, but they're going to also provide for members spot sourcing of MRO supplies. So these e-procurement companies are going to make money by charging a percentage of each transaction, also by licensing consulting services and software, and even assessing network use fees. Now, e-procurement companies are going to expand on the business model of simpler e-distributors by including their online catalogs of hundreds of suppliers and also offering value chain management services to both buyers and even the sellers. Value chain management services is going to include automation of a firm's entire procurement process on the buyer side and automation on the selling business processes on the seller side. Now, what does this mean for purchasers? E-procurement companies automate purchase orders, requisitions, sourcing, business rules enforcement, invoicing, and even payment. And for the suppliers, e-procurement companies are going to provide catalog creation and content management. They're going to also have order management, fulfillment, invoicing, shipment, and settlement. Next, we're going to get into exchanges. Now, an exchange is going to be an independently owned online marketplace. Now, this marketplace is going to connect hundreds or even thousands of suppliers and buyers in a dynamic real-time environment. Now, these exchanges generally create vertical markets. These markets are going to focus on the spot purchasing requirements of large firms in a single industry. Exchanges were the prototype internet-based marketplace in the early days of e-commerce. Most of these earlier marketplaces have failed, however. Exchanges make money by charging a commission on the transaction, and the pricing model can be through an online negotiation, an auction, an RFQ, or a fixed buy and sell price. Now, the benefits offered to customers of exchanges are going to include reduced search costs for parts and spare capacity. Other benefits are going to include lower prices that are going to be created because of a global marketplace. And this global marketplace is going to be driven by competition among suppliers. Now, the benefits offered to suppliers are going to be access to a global purchasing environment and also the opportunity to unload production overruns. Now, even though there are private intermediaries, exchanges are public in the sense of permitting any bona fide buyer or seller to participate in their exchange. Now, the Inventory Locator Service, known as an ILS, this is an exchange that has its roots as an offline intermediary. What this ILS does is serving a list service for aftermarket parts in the aerospace industry. Now, in 1979, ILS initially provided a telephone and a fax-based directory of aftermarket parts to airplane owners and mechanics. Also, government procurement professionals were being serviced by the ILS. Now, as early as 1984, ILS incorporated email capabilities as part of its RFQ services. And then later, by 1998, it had begun to conduct online auctions for hard-to-find parts. And then in 2012, ILS maintained an internet-accessible database of over 5 billion aerospace and marine industry parts. It has also developed an eRFQ feature that helps users streamline their sourcing processes. Another topic here that we're going to touch on is industry consortia. So an industry consortium is an industry-owned vertical market, and what this industry consortia is going to do is going to enable buyers to purchase direct inputs. Now, these inputs could be both goods and services. Now, from a limited set of invited participants is who's going to actually participate in this industry consortium. So you have to actually be invited to this forum. They're going to emphasize long-term contractual purchasing, the development of stable relationships, and the creation of industry-wide data standards and synchronization efforts. They're going to be more focused on optimizing long-term supply relationships than independent exchanges. And these independent exchanges, if you recall, tended to focus more on short-term transactions. Now, the ultimate objective of industry consortia is the unification of supply chains within entire industries. Industry consortia, unlike independent exchanges, are going to take their marching orders from the industry and not from venture capitalists or investment bankers. Any profits from operating industry consortia are going to be returned to the industry business firms. These industry consortia make money in a number of ways. Industry members usually pay for the creation of the consortia's capabilities and also contribute initial operating capital. Then industry consortia charges buyers and sellers firms transactions and subscription fees. Industry members, both buyers and sellers, are expected to reap benefits far greater than their contributions. Next, we'll get into 11.3, private industrial networks. We're on page 438. Now, private industrial networks today are going to form the largest part of the B2B e-commerce, both on and off the internet. Private industrial networks can be considered the foundation of the extended enterprise because it's going to allow firms to extend their boundaries and their business processes to include supply chain and logistics partners. So what exactly are the private industrial networks? So it's going to be a web-enabled network for the coordination of trans-organizational business processes. Now, it's important to note that a trans-organizational business process is going to require at least 2 independent firms to perform. These networks originate in and closely involve the manufacturing and related support industries, and therefore we refer to them as industrial networks. These networks can be industry-wide, but often begin and sometimes focus on the voluntary coordination of a group of supplying firms. Now, these are going to be centered about a single very large manufacturing firm. Private industrial networks can be viewed as extended enterprises in the sense that they often begin as an ERP system in a single firm. Then they're going to be expanded to include the firm's major suppliers. Next, we have private industrial networks and collaborative commerce. So private industrial networks can do much more than just serve a supply chain and efficient customer response system. They can also include other activities of a single large manufacturing firm. These activities could include design of products and even engineering diagrams, as well as marketing plans and demanding forecasts. One form of a collaboration, and probably the most profound, is going to be industry-wide collaborative resource planning, forecasting, and replenishment, known as CPFR. Now, CPFR is going to involve working with network members to forecast demand. They're going to also develop production plans and even coordinate shipping, warehousing, and stocking activities. Now, this is all going to be done to ensure retail and wholesale shelf space is replenished with just the right amount of goods. This activity alone could produce the largest benefits and justify the cost of developing a private industrial network. If you can see here, if this is accomplished, it could save these firms millions of dollars, a lot of money. It could free up a lot of capital that could enable them to reinvest into their own products or in their business processes, or even make other investments. So it's a good thing instead of just having all this money tied up in their inventory. Now, a second area of collaboration is demand chain visibility. In the past, it was impossible to know where excess capacity or supplies existed in the supply chain and even distribution channels. And the third area of collaboration is going to be marketing, coordination, and product design. Now, manufacturers that use or produce highly engineered parts are going to use private industrial networks. They're going to use these networks to coordinate both internal design and marketing activities. There are also going to be related activities of their supply and distribution chain partners. So once again, this wraps up Chapter 11, and also wraps up the content that we'll be covering in this course. So as you can see, there's nothing new after this week, so all the content has been covered. So once again, I will be posting chapters 10 and 11 homework, so be on the lookout for that. Once again, it will not be due until the week following Thanksgiving break. Remember, next week is Thanksgiving break. And once again, remember that the Jeff Bezos video and Mark Zuckerberg video is going to be for extra credit if you want to watch a reflection paper, or if you want to write a reflection paper on it. I would suggest watching the video, as it is fair game for me to pull for stuff on the final exam. So it is important to watch the videos. As I said, I could pull the content from the videos on the final exam, but the actual reflection paper is optional. That's the extra credit portion of it. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a good day, a good weekend, and a great Thanksgiving break. Don't forget to do your homeworks and stuff. And as I said before, feel free to go ahead and get started on these extra credits. You don't have to wait until the week in which that they're assigned. We will be watching them in class, but if you want to go ahead and watch them and get started on it, then I have no problem with that. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving break, and I will see everyone back on Monday, the week following Thanksgiving. Thank you.